Alright. Hello. Hello again. This one is not a stream because YouTube is having some problems connecting me. I don't know if it's the end of this account or not, but we'll wait, see how that goes. But here's part 2, how I mix and master. This is the track we were working on last time, Disco. I've since added a guitar part along with the bass part I had yesterday. I unplugged the keyboard and just put the guitar in, and it was kind of a cool sound. Very psychedelic but kind of harsh kind of sound. It fit the vibe pretty well. And that day and yesterday I've been recording guitar, trying to put it in there as much as I can. Well, until I got kind of sick of it. On some of those tracks I think I'll add some normal guitar, some amp guitar, just to make it more rich. That would be cool. But some of these I think will have just that guitar part, because it is a pretty crazy sound. But yes, here I'm going to show you what I do for processing and mastering. Processing on drums, on the treble instruments, the mid-range instruments. Here we're going to start with my limiter chain, limiter, saturation, master limiter, my mastering chain. I mean, sometimes if I do a pitch shift on the whole track, I'll do it first. I find it kind of retains the qualities a bit better, doesn't make it as muddy. And also, at least with this pitch shifter, it'll mess with the peaks. So if you put it at the end, you might need to pull back the master fader because it bumped up the peaks again for some reason. A little bit of a coffee zone right here. But yes, the MGA JS limiter, saturation, master limiter. All of these, except the actual limiters, the dedicated limiters, are fairly light. The first one's pulled down a fair amount, but on this track you can see it's not compressing a whole lot actually. Forgot I put some guitar on there as well. But if I take it off, yeah, on the actual plug-in you'll see they're not working super heavy. They're just kind of like pulling out the release of the sound, the body of the sound, so it's louder. With a limiter, so it retains the peaks. Something that will get in the way of a louder mix are the peaks, and you can deal with them without going in there and fading in, fading out, or squashing it unnaturally with a compressor. And it's using multiple limiters and saturation, which the saturation I have up all the way because the stock one isn't that crazy. Yeah, if you do a lot of these in a row, you can get some kind of fuzzy, some graininess. But I find even at 100%, this saturation just pulls out the mids in a way I really like. And I'll do that on maybe an individual track if I feel it needs it. I mean, like drums or guitar. But on the whole bit, it does help bring out the best frequencies, like the body of the frequencies, while also kind of smoothing it out peaks wise, thus being able to make it louder. Of course, I don't add so much saturation that it will sound distorted or buzzy. It's more of a, just like, yeah, like I said, like a mid-range presence kind of thing. But yeah, we'll just copy those settings here. These drums I'm using are from a single-ish session. So I'm gonna, so the settings should be similar. MVS. Get the master limiter here, might as well pull that out. Got saturation. All in the JS folder. Saturation in the middle. Turn that up all the way. Kind of pull back the release a little bit. You can go by ear or leave it, But I find if it's too long, it might get too muddy. Not too muddy, like unnoticeably muddy. Maybe I'm just hearing nothing. But yeah, let's see how loud the drums are here. -10. Let's start at -10 here. I have them up all the way just because the drums are actually pretty quiet. But actually, before I calibrate the mastering, let me do the processing on the drums, because that's gonna become way louder. Gonna need EQ in there, and as you can see for this recording, I took out a lot of high end, upper, mid, high end. Maybe, I guess here there's some strange mid-range. They also have distortion just to make it more gnarly, sounding more gooder, pretty. Hold on. 6. I guess it sounds pretty alright. I think for a previous drum sound I had the hardness on F1. Okay, so let's see. We could change this sound up if we need it. They're not from exactly the same session. The first one, well, obviously from both sessions having slightly different drum placement. The first one, I was just getting back on the drums, and this loop is from that session. So yeah, we're not gonna cut anything yet. That's normal right there. Wait. Maybe I forgot to mess with the hardness on that track, but I don't remember it being that. Yeah. Okay, should be down like that. Hold on. Should be a 1. Nice, nice. Okay. I was kind of wondering why the drums were so overbearing on that one. I just thought it was the recording. Okay. I take the hardness all the way down. You don't need to do this exactly. This is what I do. Look for a kind of light distortion, light clipping to help with the good frequencies of the sound. When you do this, it does accentuate the high frequencies, so that's why on the other one I pulled back so much on the highs here. Let's see how this sounds. Oh shit. Oh yeah, I have it kind of blended in as well. The cool thing about Reaper is that every single effect has this blender right next to the checkbox. It's a little wheel. You could blend in the totally affected sound with the normal sound, unaffected. It works really well with drums and distortion. Because when you get that distortion happening, it's a cool sound, but it's a bit crazy. You can blend in a bit of this so it's tasteful. It's I think around 35, 40 should be good. All right, sounds cool. Sounds pretty cool. Cool sound. The drums there are at 10 as well. So, put a straight 10. Just so we could gauge the limiter real quick. Oh shit. EQ was supposed to go into distortion. My bad, my bad. On the last limiter, I don't, or even on the first one too, it's got just barely be going into the red. Because these, the makeup gain is so good. You can pull it back. It's not even compressing it, but it's making your signal louder before any clipping is done. Bringing up that release, that sweet release, before it clips the front of it, the transient. And in my setup, most of that transient clipping is handled by the saturation. So I'm guessing in this way I get a nice body to the sound, with the release and the mid-range being pulled out, but with the peaks, the actual compression being handled by the saturation and lightly by the limiters. Because when the limiter goes too hard, it can sound not good. Kind of flimsy, kind of weak. Right, still going. What next? What next? I was thinking that's a good place for it. Later on, I might surgically go in on the high end there because the cymbals are pretty rough, especially with that distortion. But right now, I'll leave that. In terms of loudness, that's pretty much where the drums are gonna be. I might pull them back, but after that surgical EQ, I might not need to. And we still don't have any of the other frequencies in there, so who knows if we'll need them or not. We might. What's next on the list here? Oh, that's the bass. Sounds a little hectic. I think I might throw a compressor on there. You could look up compressor in the JS. Reverb has one here, but it's kind of weird to work with. The Fairly Childish compressor limiter. You just pull, don't mess with anything down here. I just pull back the threshold until it gets the most, and it'll show you down here the gain reduction, which is how much it's pulling down. 6 or 7. But for something more light, you could go for 4. Let's see how it goes. And this compressor, when you pull it down, it actually makes it quieter. Has no makeup gain like the other limiters do. See, it retains its sound, but it's not like not going super crazy. It's not super peaky either. A compressor can deal with the high frequencies at times, but it's too harsh. Sometimes it will like accentuate it. Or if you try to take care of those purely with a compressor, you'll just get a muddy sound. You'll get the opposite end of it. You'll get a very sound. But in rare occasions like this, you'll have some light compression taking care of a harsh frequency. But yeah, that's the bass sound, that's normal. Here are the synth parts that are recorded. I kind of have them coming in halfway through, just add some variety to the track. Because when I recorded the guitar part, it was like, oh, okay, this sounds kind of cool. But with the keyboards at the same time, it's a bit too hectic. So I kind of constructed this, did a little composing. Actually, these two I should put into one folder, which you can do by pulling. These two tracks are in solo mode, so you can pull them down. And you need to do this setup specifically have them at the end, because if you click the plus down here on the bottom leftmost of the track, it'll put everything under it into a folder. So if you have the guitars under that in a folder or in a group, it will go into. You don't really want that. I just wanted the soloed out keyboard So now this part's gonna be called keyboard. And this will be useful because they're a pretty similar sound. They're the same sound, just a different note. Different accentuated note. So anything I'll be doing to one, I'm definitely gonna need it applied to the other. This way you're not using as much in terms of plugin. And when you get to a lot, well, that processing power does affect your end result, your rendered sound. But yeah, for this, I'll leave that alone for right now. I can't think of anything I'll need to do to that. I think I might need to scoop out some of the stuff that can get annoying when it's stacked with other instruments, which is like 4K, 7K kind of area ish. But at least I got those in one folder. I think I'll want the guitars in one folder as well. Oops. Just pull that down. Hit the plus. Take the solo off of there. Give you a sound of the guitar right here. It's pretty loud, so I'll pull it back. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, most of the distortion you're hearing right there is the DoD Classic Fuzz, and it's the sound of all the modulation pedals going into it. It's my guitar with P90 gold foil combo. And I was mostly going for the gold foil just because it being microphonic, it picks up the resonance of the guitar really well, which is something that is kind of annoying about DI. The lack of that. But all those sounds, it hits the delay, the phaser, then the chorus, then it just gets by the fuzz. Very cool. Almost a bit Lamborghini Crystal, but even more overdriven. And I'm not big on DI sounds. Definitely not DI pedal sounds. They can get a bit fizzy. And hearing the body of the notes, it just sounds like it's not hoodoo. It's not voodoo. Like having a live amplifier next to you playing that kind of instrument that has pickups, that pick up frequency, the beefing up of the sound, not just for the screeching stuff, but for just hitting a note and having it have some body, some sustain. It's real. And when I hear a DI guitar sound sometimes, unless that shit is super distorted or played with some light monitoring, it just sounds like a distorted ukulele almost. Distorted acoustic guitar. You get a fair amount of sustain just from holding the string there. I know, if you're a bass player, you know that. But it's not the same. Typically in this case you gotta go super overdriven, which I did here. There's some illusion of sustain here just because it's so overdriven. And the delay is kind of helped too. But yeah, for this I'm gonna need to scoop out a lot of the high end. This is pretty harsh. Pretty harsh sound. Not gonna do that right now, but that would be something I do. Alright, let's see how everything sounds with the light mastering going on. Okay, so there's like a high, kind of like a higher part here, and there's a fuzzy lower part, which I like, but it's kind of getting buried by the other part. Hmm. Maybe I might have it like the keyboards, and it will come in a little bit later after the high part plays by itself, because it kind of like fills up a bit too much. Maybe it'll sit better once I tame the high frequencies on the drums a bit more, because the fuzziness with the cymbal, it kind of, it's too much, it's too harsh. I have the speakers faced away from me, and it's too harsh. Pay attention to that. Fatiguing frequencies, or parts that are fatiguing, because it's most likely a frequency in there, mostly in the high end, somewhere that's getting a bit too much. Cymbals, distortion, and in my case, overdriven keyboard sounds. But yeah, okay, don't want to make this one too long. Okay, coming around half an hour, that's not bad. I'm not gonna finish the song. Maybe there's gonna be a third part called How I Finish the Song, which is a thing that you don't really know what to look for. So that might be a useful video. For who, I don't know. It's just, but this is just something fun. I just thought it would be cool to do inside of the mind of PoeMod. But maybe as a way for you to get an idea of the workflow, of the process, where to go, what's next, what should I look out for, what should I have in mind. In that case, I could do maybe a video on like how do I choose the aesthetic, or how do I choose the concept. Those two could be one video. Do like a half-hour video where I go through album covers I like, this and that. How I finish the song, how I arrange it, how I tweak it. Maybe arrange and tweak could be the same video. How I micromix. But okay. Next, and final part. We got our mastering engaged, which I don't know. I don't think most people master while they mix. I like to. I kind of looked up or have been studying compression for years, so kind of applying this to multiple instruments, aka a mix, I've been trying out for the past 2 years now. I feel like I got a good handle on it. I don't hear anything too strange from my mixes besides my weird performances, my inconsistent performances. Not something I blame on the compression a whole lot. I find the system works for me. I'm not about paying somebody to mix or to master my track, because the mastering changes the sound of it. You're not just making it louder. And I guess with some level you can get a transparent loudness increasement. But I just find when you use mastering, it'll pull out like the hi-hat a bit more, or pull out the bass too much. Like, what the fuck? I gotta rearrange this a bit more. So it's fun to, or at least useful, to tweak those two processes at the same time. Some might think, oh shit, I'm mastering and mixing. Oh man, just even, yeah, like on top of mixing, just even having to mix your own shit is pretty annoying. Kind of a huge task to take on in the production of your own music. That's how it is now. You gotta do everything: record, produce, arrange, aesthetics, lyrics if you do that, song titles. It's all a one-man thing. Unless you're lucky enough to have other people who are as passionate about it rocking. But in this case, no. Or what was I gonna do? Oh yeah. As I was saying, now that we have our levels at a good place with the mastering, let's throw in some of the processing that I use on everything, namely the 2 delay buses and the reverb bus. And bus in this case just means the track with the effect by itself. No track in the no file in the track, but every instrument can be sent to this track, so it triggers the effect. So if I have, let's say, delay on here, delay with tone control, I could choose down here on this bottom half of slots, sends, hardware output, add new send down to track 9, which I accidentally put into the guitar group. Hold on. You should be alone. Okay, guitar. This would be the first delay. And this one I'll kind of time to the drums, the tempo of the drums. Because you wanted, at least for this one, I wanted to go with the tempo, not be too chaotic. And here, okay, I'll copy the settings here, but mostly for the frequencies you can choose 227. There we go. Alright, so let's test it out. Solo the drum here. Yeah, obviously a bit too much too much delay, and it's too slow. So what you can do here when you click the new send is mess with this fader here, which increases the amount sent to the delay volume. So there's not as bad. But yeah, that's how. Let me show you how it sounds. That's how the delay sounds by itself. Yeah, I don't want it to be that chaotic, so I'm gonna nudge this length down. That's kind of cool. All right. And now that you have that delay set up here, you can just drag this to whatever, to the keyboards. Sometimes I'll send the bass to the delays, but it might get too muddy if the bass is like going that crazy. Right here, the bass already has a delay on it in the recording, so I don't think it'll be necessary here. You can put it on the guitar, and of course check the amount you want in there. You can solo the delay, kind of gauge it from there. Oof. Yeah, this track's gonna need a lot of cleaning up. It's way too harsh. But that's yeah, that's the gist of the delay of the send. I like to have 2 delays just to make it sound weirder, add more complexity to the sound. And I like the second delay to be. What's the sound like right here? Hold on. Oh no, that's the reverb. Okay, so here I was using the first delay for kind of a quicker, almost what's the name of it? Kind of like a chicken picking delay, which I feel adds like kind of a 3D quality to stuff. So I could maybe make this one quicker. Alright. And make the second one longer, more dreamy. This delay is also in the JS delay library. It's just normal delay. Just delay with nothing. Nothing else on top. You know, besides the output being pulled all the way back, because you just want the delay sound, none of the. You don't want to stack the dry sound on top of each other. Kind of gets in the way of proper mixing. Yeah. Besides pulling out the dry signal, just mess with the actual delay, the milliseconds on this one. Start with the drums. We'll put delay 2 on this one. Or single it out. Not bad. Yeah, all this is just to make the original signal more complex, more loud. Give it that impression of being loud. All right, that's. And then I would add the reverb. Do the same thing, same process. And I use the Reverberate, which is a stock Reaper plugin. I use hold on, believe that Reverberate. Okay, your preset here. I use wide. Pull down the room size to like 89. The dry signal, pull that out all the way, of course. Leave everything alone. And it seems like I mostly aim for mid-range frequencies being the reverb, which would be below 4K. I did this by ear, and like I didn't just choose a random frequency, but I felt like I kind of wanted this area of the sound to have some modulation, and anything too above that kind of like got in the way in terms of treble. I found that to be annoying. Of course, you don't want a whole lot of low end in the reverb. It'll make it too boomy. Seems here I pulled it up above 200. And yeah, that would be what I use there. Not gonna go through the applying process here, so I'll wrap it up. It would be more of the same, same process. Just gauge what you want I don't want a whole bunch of drums in any of them. They're just for drums. They're just for a little bit of zazz. I don't want to hear the delays too much on the drums. I don't want to hear the or the da 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 da. I just want them to give an impression of a room, or of sounds bouncing off of walls. They are mostly for the instruments that have a higher mid-range or a lot of treble. In this case, the crazy guitar and the synths. Just so those aren't so bare, so raw in your ear. They're going to be going pretty heavily into these modulation effects. Or delays, whatever, reverb. I'm not going to get into that. Well, modulation would be wrong, maybe in terms of reverb. Anyways. But these buses, the delay, reverb, are for adding richness and complexity to those high frequency instruments, the treble instruments, so they're not so raw in your ear. Give them also the impression of loudness or largeness, but without being so in your face. I've done that with chorus, which gives a pretty funky sound, funky warbling sound. Everything is warbling together. You could do it with distortion, of course, have some parallel distortion going on everything. But that's how I do it. Thank you for watching. Let's see if I don't think YouTube bans uploading when it bans streaming, because I don't know if I'm banned from streaming on PostNod. I don't know just yet. Nothing showed up. Oh, maybe I should check my email. That's usually where it will tell you. But yeah, thank you for watching. Peace.